Hey TV people! So there's been quite a delay from the last video that I've done. This is because there's been a couple of lenders recently that have gone bump and development finance has stopped, therefore I've had to pull the trades off. So there's not a massive amount of progress from the last video. However, there is some progress. So it's a quick update from me. The plasterers are in, they've started skimming from the upstairs down. There's also some little cool tips in there, and also showing you the difference in how we actually screw insulation and plasterboard to the wall and the effect it can have in a HMO with regards to the room size and how it can encroach. So it's a quick tip in there for you people, so keep watching. See you later! So this is going to be a very quick update for you. We're going to walk through and just show you a few little things. So come inside. So it's ready for to be plastered. Like I said, there's not much from the last video down here. However, it's still coming on. So this is
it smells.
Plant room. So we're going to have all the unvented cylinders down here. So as you can see, we've put the new water main in. So here's a little bit of a builder's tip for you, or things that you don't know, is when you're putting an unvented cylinder in, or a number of them, this is the water main that comes into the property. 9 times out of 10, the water main that comes into these older properties are lead, which means the inside diameter of the pipe is a lot smaller, so you don't get the flow rate to then fill up the cylinder and when it's being used heavily. So what we do is we change it for plastic, we get bigger diameter and a better pressure. So a little tip for you there.
Is there any reason why it's plastic now?
Because lead corrodes and plastic doesn't. Or it hasn't been proven to, or it lasts a lot longer.
Lasts forever-ish, in theory.
In theory. Put it this way, it'll outdo me. I won't be on this planet by the time that's rotten. So we're going to have the unvented cylinders. I believe they're going to be sited over here. So voila, somewhere around there. But these are the pumps. So these are going to be throwing the hot water around the building so that you've got instant hot water pretty much. And if you look at this, look, it's been zoned off, so you've got, it's even labelled up pretty, so it says ground floor, and you've got your first floor pump and your second floor, so look at that, how pretty is that?
So we can isolate each floor.
Yeah, so if we ever have to do any maintenance, we know which pump is for which floor, with little simple things, but makes me happy.
Very nice.
Here, if you see these cables, we're going to have 2 washing machines and 2 dryers down here as well, so this is going to become like a bit of a laundrette sort of
laundry room.
Wash room. And there's the old one. Anyway, come with me, let's go upstairs. So this is the front door we have here, and you can see all these cables. We're going to be building and boxing all this in. We're going to call this like a media hub, and if you can see, we've got the electrics here as well. So basically anything that ends with a wire, CCTV is going to be in here, all the gubbins for everything, the internet's going to be in here, you name it, everything's going to be in one cupboard, so it's easy for us to find. So this is the downstairs bedroom. New window, so that's been installed today. We've just got to put a roof on, and if you've been following this series, you'll know that this is a listed building, and I think the reason that it's listed is because of these.
What the hell are these?
These are Juliet, well, it's what I call a Juliet balcony. So this was originally sitting on top of this window. And we've actually got to restore this. So the Heritage Office has actually said that we've got to sand it all down, sandblast it off.
Make it nice and pretty again.
Make it all pretty, because you can see that the paint is quite old. And then we've got to restore it and put it back on there. So when we come to do it, I'll do you another video on it. But we've had to take it off for the purpose of putting that window in behind you. But I think this is the reason why it's classified more than anything for a listed building, which is a pain in the arse. So this is one of the front bedrooms. As you can tell, it's all been boarded up now. So look at this. So when someone says run about insulated plasterboard, so on this property, because we were doing a conversion, we've had lots of issues. So if you remember, I said to you before that in a previous video on this that I had a little bit of a ding-dong with the building inspector and the heritage person and the SAPS guy for the energy ratings. So on the smaller rooms, which I'll show you in a minute, we were basically saying to get the U value up, which is basically how thermally efficient the room is, or the house, the building in itself, or the EPC, to try and get like a point score. So for building control, I think they wanted something daft like 100 mil. But if you take 10 centimetres off a room and then go all the way around the room, that 10 centimetres can easily take up 1.5, 2 square metres. So if you've got a HMO room that's 6.5 square metres and you put 100 mil on the outside, you're going to lose another square metre from that 10 centimetres, that 100 mil. So I had a bit of a ding dong, if you like, or a little bit of a debate.
A discussion,
and we came to the conclusion that they were willing to accept my thing. So what we've actually done is just put 25 mil insulated plasterboard. So if you have a look at here, this is the insulation, and that's the plasterboard there, and that's the divide. So it's still insulated. It's got a cavity there, so that it can breathe, which is still taking up a lot of space, by the way.
Yeah.
And then you've got the plasterboard on
So
top.
they want 50 mil?
I think they wanted 100 or 100 and something, so it would have been about this.
Wow, that's
what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
If you imagine that,
you lost the room.
That space up all the way around the outside of the room, your 6.5 square metre rooms are now 4.5 square metres, so it doesn't comply with the regs. But the building inspector doesn't really care about the HMO officer's issues.
Yeah.
The HMO officer doesn't really care about the heritage woman.
Yeah.
It all goes round in a big circle, so it's about we all need to work together a little bit. But we come to the conclusion, it's all been passed off now, and hence why we...
And everyone's happy?
Everyone's happy, just like me. This is the back bedroom. This is one of the smaller rooms, so when I was talking to you about a 6.5 square metre room, this is one of them. So, as you can tell, you've got a space for a bed, a space for a desk or a wardrobe, and you've got an ensuite, and that's pretty much it. So you can't afford to waste space when you don't have a lot of space in the first place. But like I say, we're all about solutions, and we got there. So front room, these are nice big doubles, as you can tell.
Yeah.
We've got the spotlights cut out, everything's ready for be skimmed. Again, this is one of the front rooms. This is completely skimmed now, so we've got plaster on the walls, and it's already dry. So that's another good thing with insulated plasterboard, is it dries a lot quicker because it's a lot warmer. So this one's ready for second fix now. We can send the joiner in, start putting the skirting boards in, the architraves, we can even hang doors now because the moisture content's down. Well, what we do is, because this is a 3-storey building, what we're going to do is once the plasterers have done this top floor, they'll move down onto the middle floor. So the finishers can then move in and follow, and the joiner can start putting the second fix as it goes down, and as the joiners go down the floor below. So each trade sort of follows suit as the way it should do. And that's the way we're going to try and do it. So again, not much to show apart from lots of plaster.
Good.
But always makes things look a little bit prettier, and it gives the feel of a lot more. I mean, here's another thing as well with regards to like the SAP, so the thermal content. Is the ceilings, which is the only ceiling I can show you now, I think. Just stay there 1 minute, just check this ceiling in. No, that's been skimmed. So if you imagine where the rafters were, coming down here, like so, we've had to put kingspan, which is insulation, in between the rafters. And then we've also had to put insulated plasterboard over the top of that, so you can see that gap.
Yeah.
That's the thickness of the insulation that we've had to do, so
wow.
It's really, I mean, this was never really agreed or part of the scope of works, if you like, but it is one of those things that changes throughout a project. So
it's one of those things that's like subject to remeasure.
Subject to remeasure, subject to a lot of things, so that's going to be an additional thing that we're going to have to charge for, because obviously it was never agreed for in the first place, but this is sometimes what happens. It's not a big thing, but it's something that does have to happen. But then, you've got more awkward corners there, and then on this ceiling it's okay, but on some of the other ceilings, if you imagine that's just been up there, we've had to bond in and try and create like a curvature contour. So all these things are more time, more fiddly bits. But in fairness, with it being a HMO, the positive side or the flip side of it is the landlord's heating bills should be quite efficient, because there's going to be hardly any, or not very much, escaping from the property. Especially with having new windows as well, and insulated plasterboards everywhere, and the roof. Should be like.
It's all brand new, isn't it now?
Yep. And last but not least, this is the other bedroom. Obviously the contours are all done. It's been skimmed now, just waiting for the dry out time. wants a quick sort of tidy round and clean up, and it's ready for joins. So as I said before, there's not loads and loads and loads of progress from the last video, because we've only been in here about a week and a half, 2 weeks from being, initiated to be started again. We've had a few delays with things. But we're back on it now, so we'll do some more updates for you. Any questions, let us know, put it in the comments. Like, share and subscribe, and comment if you want any more information. And until then, I'll see you next time, people.